Good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of the afternoon edition. My name is Isa Nu. Today we shall be focusing more, or let me say an extension of yesterday's program, while we try as much as possible to understand the economic policy of this new administration. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has since his assumption of office enunciated wide-ranging policies in fidelity to the pledge he made to put Nigerians at the center of government policies and address business-unfriendly fiscal and monetary policies, especially multiplicity of taxes. Nobody is in doubt of the president's preference for market-driven economy, especially the growing quest to maximize revenue growth for the developmental purposes. Much seemed to have been accomplished within a short time in office in terms of the reforms. However, that remains conspicuously missing are measures with a direct impact on the populace to significantly ameliorate the consequences of the fuel subsidy removal. We should include the immediate rollout of palliatives as promised by the government. The president has not left anyone in doubt of the direction of his administration, most especially that has to do with this capacity to drive the economic policy, which revolves on the lifting impediment to a friendly business climate, revenue generation, elimination of multiple taxation, monetary policy reforms, ease of doing business, growth of the economy that would engender shared prosperity amongst the populace. Consequently, on the first day of his assumption, or the first day that he assumed this position, just a few minutes after being sworn in as president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu swiftly revisited the vexed issue of subsidy and announced its removal from premium motor spirit, popularly called the petrol. This did not go down with many people due to obvious reasons. And for many Nigerians, you remember that after the announcement was made, the following day, filling stations start selling at exorbitant price until we get to that climax that it is known as 540. The effects of the announcement on the economy and the people were spontaneous. As anticipated, immediately, the petroleum product marketers adjusted the pump price. Just today, it was reported, or just yesterday, it was reported that the cost of pump price of petrol is now 617 naira. Motorists across the country were caught napping as those that could not afford to pay for the new price parked their vehicles. Commuters who were also caught off guard of the price increase were left with fewer choices of either trekking distance or paying through their noses. In the midst of all this, the masses continue to bear the brunt and move stoically on issues that pertains to the Nigerian economy. And if you remember vividly, the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, had recently stated that subsidy can no longer justify its ever-increasing costs in the wake of drying resources. We shall instead rechannel the funds into better investment in public infrastructure, education, healthcare, and jobs that will materially improve the lives of millions. To discuss this with us today is nobody but Ambassador Soke Mohammed. He is an erudite member of the All Progressive Congress and a major stakeholder in the Northeast. We'll go on a very short break, and when we return, we start up with the conversation.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite.
This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television DSTV Channel 392, Star Times Terrestrial Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, People's TV Channel 285, and UHF Channel 30.
Welcome back from that mouth break, and still with us here in the studio is Ambassador Musa Mohammed Sokan. Ambassador, good afternoon and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
You've been a major pusher of peace, and you know, peace sometimes can only be achieved where people seem to be a bit settled with all that goes around them. What's your current take on the way things are in the country?
Thank you very much for this timely question. And I think Mr. President have made it clear. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is somebody who believes in practical aspect of the economy, where it is driving through liberating the suffering of the masses of this country. You see, you talk about security, and the basic points of reference when it comes to security, you must have to align with the stomach issue. And you see the declaration of, a state of emergency on the food security is a very positive step taken towards ameliorating the, suffering of the masses. And having said that, I would also like to expatiate that all other measures too are in place to see that things get well to the masses of this country. The security architecture has been a very primary issue in the policies of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and he's trying to tackle it from the roots. You know, there's a popular adage that says a hungry man is an angry man. But when food is made available in his table, to some extent, he should be able to, be himself and act in the manner that will boost economic, development and growth. Yeah.
Okay, now when you talk about the issue of food security, we know he has so many plans on how he wants to drive the economy. And one of the major issues is trying to solve the issue of food security. In addressing food security in the past, we've seen the intervention that was made by the past government, and he has also rolled out his own plan. Can that be truly achieved within the next 4 years?
It has already even started achieving. But when the woman wing of APC visited him in the State House, he made it clear that situations are unveiled and where people will feel sometimes a little bit bitter. Bitter in the sense that the pains of trying to put things in order sometimes doesn't come easy. He cited an instance of a woman giving birth. The pains of that is there, but immediately she sees the face of a newborn baby, the pains goes away. So this is a time of actually going through some, hardship that is equivalent to sacrifice. But as time unfolds, the policies are fully in place, and the masses shall come to say, thank you, Mr. President, because he is a man of his words.
Well, if you say that, we understood what it means for a woman to give birth, and then at the sight of seeing the child she has given birth to, she becomes very happy. But then, if you remember in the past, there was an issue, and I think even BBC had to report it from your state, Taraba State, where all Nigerians are happy that, yes, we'll have enough energy, like the Mambila hydroelectric construction. Is it the Kenji Dam or the Mambila, I think, something like that. And at the point after investigation was made, it happens that nothing was actually happening there. So for how long should we wait as Nigerians to start reaping from the success of his election?
Variably, you can see it's just barely not even up to 50 days in office, but a lot has already been achieved. From day one, the pronouncement on the removal of fuel subsidy is a very gigantic step that is taken towards, improving the economic strength of the country, targeted at, liberating the hardship of the masses. Economic growth has to do with an increase in productivity capacity of a country. And agriculture is one of the, second major source of income of Nigeria. So the policy of trying to kind of encourage people to engage in agricultural productivity is a very positive step. And what we should be looking at is a kind of, at this juncture, to also make it a point of, appeal to Mr. President that the declaration of a state of emergency on food security is very, very okay. But it will also go a long way if it is added with also declaration of a state of emergency on our roads. That will go down a long way to promote agricultural productivity. So these are some of the policies that is driving towards, a kind of ameliorating the suffering of the masses of this country. And I can't fail to say again and again that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is somebody that has the masses at heart. Everything that is going to promote, the economic growth and economic development of this country is his first point of contact. And all apparatus is put in place to ensure that all measures, economic driving policies that will standardize and uplift the, situation of the masses of this country is going to take into a serious consideration.
If food security is a major issue, before the president's assumption in office, if you notice very well, there was issue of embargo on certain foods into the country. Now that we are facing this particular problem, is it not also better that we even open door to neighboring countries that have some of this food in abundance to bring them into Nigeria?
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is somebody that listens to voices. You can see even on the issue of the palliative, there is reform, or rather review on it. And that is due to his listening ears. If today some team of experts deem it fit that no, these are additional steps we want you to take to see that what we are striving to achieve is being fully achieved. Mr. President is always ready to, listen to people. So on that, I think this is one of the reasons why the borders is open. You understand? He has declared, I think, the opening of the border so that it will a kind of boost a kind of transaction that will open way for more food to come into the country, while steps are already in place for a local production, which is, the basic principle of, promoting productivity capacity of a country.
One major issue that was raised yesterday, some of the regional presidents were in Nigeria to pay him a visit. And I believe one of the major issues that was raised has to do with the issue of energy. Nigeria supply energy to some of these neighboring countries. But before we look at their issue, let us come back home. Just yesterday, Nigerians woke up to the increment in fuel price. I don't know if you bought fuel yesterday. How did you see Nigerian reaction, including yourself?
Well, as I earlier stipulated here, You know, in everything there must be sacrifice. And during that sacrifice period, a lot of things is encountered. You sometimes have to go an extra length, even go above your normal budget, so that to cope with the little time that you're experiencing such hardship. But then, hardship is not a permanent situation. It's a temporary situation to make things change. And when things are undergoing changes, sometimes you experience some, irregularities on the normal activities you are facing on daily basis. So, but with time, that will be adjusted and things will go the normal way that it's supposed to be. Nobody will be happy to pay higher for a commodity. But if that is taken as a sacrifice in order to make effective, proficient, and efficient changes in improving the standard of living of the masses, I think it's worth it for the time being.
Don't you think Nigerians have sacrificed enough?
You know, the government of the day take up barely, not even up to 50 days. So you don't expect everything within the, this time to change completely. But as time unfolds, things will be, perfecting and everything will go normal before 100 days.
Your party has been in power since 2015 till this particular period. What assessment can you give them in terms of the development plan on economic issues?
You know, a lot of things have been unfold from the previous administration to this one. And it's two hands. You can give one driver, you can give one car to two different drivers. The way they are going to handle it, even if though it's the same car, it's not going to be the same. The efficiency of the driver to be able to manipulate his way, and drive that car to safety matters. So, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is somebody who has done it before, and we are anticipating, we trusted so much in him, and it is our belief that in the shortest possible time, things are going to work out very good for Nigerians. So at this moment is a time for us to exercise a kind of a high level of, steadfastness. And at the end of it all, we are going to rejoice and say thank you to Mr. President.
People have questioned the modus operandi of how things moves in the country presently, most especially having this increment. Nigerians also believe that, instead of having this increment now, why not he rolls out his palliative plan before the increment will come in? Because if the palliative come in later, definitely maybe like increment in civil servant salaries and the other palliatives that he's going to bring on board, that it will also further skyrocket the price of goods and services.
Well, all plan has already been put in place to see that even the salary of the workers you are talking about is, being increased to the level every, worker will be happy with what he's going to take home. And I think these are some of the steps that is palliative, not in the primary way people look at it, but when you increase the wages of the workers in one way or the other, we are also saying that, look, we are trying to mitigate some of the sufferings you people are going to. So we understand, and we are going to increase your wages so that to enable you to cope with some of your bills. So these are some of the positive steps that is on the pipeline, and it will be unveiled in the shortest possible time.
Now, in addressing one major issue, that is the issue of youth unemployment, which is a very, very important aspect of it, all as we delve into this increment that is ongoing now. The youths have started also complaining that for some time now, there has not been any major plan on how they can move things forward for the country. And what plans do you think the president will have for the Nigerian youth as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
This issue of youth, I think, is the primary, area of concern of Mr. President. And adequate measure has already been put in place, even in the action plan of this government, that youth and women are going to be empowered adequately. So the issue of youth empowerment is something that is very, very integral and central to this government. And as Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has already proclaimed, and his various policies and programs driving towards ensuring that the youth are being carried along in this government, these are the major areas to which is going to be tackled within the shortest possible time. So the need for us to be, exercise the level of, patience is now, because in the shortest possible time, everything is going to be unveiled to the advantage of the youths and masses of the country, including women.
Okay, now moving forward to other issues, one key aspect of development in the country is when you have definitely all the hands on deck to see that, yes, they move the nation forward. The issue of the delay, I don't know, of the ministerial list is one major aspect that Nigerians seem to be more concerned about. We don't want to face the same issues we had in the past, where we have to wait for like 6 months before you can put up a team to propel Nigerians forward. So what should we expect from the nominations of Mr. President, and when should we be expecting such names to be screened in the National Assembly?
Well, the issue of ministerial appointment is something that is very, very paramount. And Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a man of action. And one other thing that people should also understand is the fact that it's not the issue of rushing into nominating ministers that are going to, prioritize their self against the, goodwill and economic driving situation of the country. So adequate measures have to be put in place to filter people that have the nationalistic aspiration, the people that have the zeal to see that this country develop, people, the like-minded people, people that have the same principle and, philosophy with His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So in that line, it's not that the president and the legislative arms and all that matters are silenced about it. I think something is on the high gear to see that the right people are being nominated, the people that have nationalistic zeal, people that has this country at heart, people that are going to move this country to the level His Excellency is yearning for, and the country, the masses of this country are also praying for. So it's such type of people that we are looking up to. So in that regard, there's no need to rush. I'm assuring you that all machineries is put in place from the, people that have to mine, checkmate, and see the credibility and record of people that are going to be nominated still doing their work. And at the end of the day, everything will come to pass, and the ministers will be appointed accordingly after passing through all the, the principles. The guiding principle of nominating and appointing the ministers is fully exhausted. That is done in order for us to have a credible governance. You cannot just come on board and appoint anybody without, proper checking of his activities, antecedents, and what he have to offer. So I think adequate measure is put in place to see the proper and appropriate selection is made to bring the most credible people that matters to, steer the affairs of this country to greatness. So I think.
So on that same particular issue, before now, there was this issue of having 36 ministers, 40 ministers. I don't know if you have idea of probably the numbers of ministers we may be having this time around.
I think that is a thing for another day discussion. Okay. But for now, I'm not fully involved myself with the.
Okay, okay. If that's the case, I will just take a break here, so that we can come back and explain. You can also explain to us some of the other issues that are very, very paramount with Mr. President's plan. Yeah. So we'll go on a very short break, and still discussing on that same issue will be Mr. Ambassador Musa Mohammed Soken telling us more about the plans of the government he campaigned for and he voted for.
Sir, can you please give us the permission to search you? You can go.
Is this a movie? If it happened...
Officer, I beg carry and go station. When our Oga come, you come meet her for there.
Hey, Mr. Man, I cannot do that.
Tell your Oga to come to our station when he returns.
Am I in a movie? If it happen...
Mama, please.
Mama, please.
Thank God you're here. Do the needful.
Mama, please, just 3 weeks,
Madam, why did you invite us to come help chase your tenant now?
This is a civil matter now.
Is this a movie? If it happen,
If we follow
The new police law.
Welcome back from the break, and still with us here is Ambassador Musa Mohammed Soken, a member of the All Progressive Congress and a major pusher for this new administration. So, Ambassador, still on this same issue, I remember in the last administration the role the former Secretary to the Government of the Federation played in trying to calm the nerves of Nigerians on issues that has to do with economic challenges and the rest, most especially security, which he actually is from the northeastern zone. But the present SGF, how is he going about with his activities to see that, yes, the economic plan of the president is fully achieved?
Well, that is the most, critical aspect and strategic aspect to which His Excellency Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, deemed it fit to bring people like the SGF, who has, gone a long way to acquire a lot of experience in different fields of discipline. His Excellency Senator Dr. George Akumi is somebody that have trailed in different aspects of the economy and governance of this country. As far as His Excellency Senator George Akumi was, an administrator. Even in the first instance, he was, a sole administrator of a local government. I think either or so. From there, he retired as a PAMSEC before he joined politics. So at the helms of his politicking, he has been governor. This is a story that everybody knows. He has been governor, he has been senator, he has been a minister. So for someone to acquire all this experience, he have a lot to give. He have gone into the nook and crannies of, politicking, governance, and an area also of economic development and economic growth. Most especially, he comes from Benue State. And when you talk about Benue State, you talk about the food basket of the nation. So I think anything that has to do with food security, His Excellency Senator Dr. George Akume has the right principle and precepts to bring on board all that it takes to see that people have adequate food on their table, considering his vast, experience and the place he come from. So towards these adequate measures has already been in place, and with him on board as SGF, great things is going to come to the table of the masses of this country. We have lots of, experience to tap from these, erudite politicians of high repute. So all essential ingredient that is needed to provide the so efficient and proficient governance that is needed will be gotten from him, and the right things will be done appropriately and adequately.
You said your party have the resource people or the resource persons who can also help to push forward the administration's plan. And I know your president, that was the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is a party man, despite the fact that we all know that he is also a nationalistic person. But then there is still this aspect of this economy that people seem not to actually understand. If your party before now was able to put his house in order, and then they were able to win the 2023 general election with their plans, they've told Nigerians all they need to do. Now have a problem internally. We just noticed that just some days back, the chairman of the party had to resign. So how can you put this house in order to achieve some of these plans, which your party did sit down with some of these persons that have resigned, the chairman, even that of the secretary?
This is very, very essential, and it's a positive step taken to see that a lot of things is being managed proficiently in the way that it will not emanate to a situation where people would think otherwise. You can see the resignation is done peacefully, and there was no any rancor, and people are very much satisfied, and which means they deem fit that other people to come and take over the affairs of the governance of the party. And already the caretaker committee has already been inaugurated with Senator Abu Kyari leading it. Abu Kyari, you know, was a senator, and he was also an erudite politician, a politician of high repute with experience and knowledge to govern the affairs of the party proficiently before the main, party executive will be either elected or whichever steps that will be taken to put the leadership in order. So that has been done peacefully, and I think it's a very, very positive step. You can see, even with the resignation, nobody goes anywhere to say no. We want them back.
But the complaints of Nigeria now is that we all know that yes, the APC won the election in 2023. That's the February election. But at the same time, again, even before putting up the ministers who can drive this economic plan, the party have started having problem amongst them. Despite the fact that, yes, it was a quiet resignation, it has also thrown jitters to certain quarters that all may not be well with the party. And if the house is not in order, how will they be able to achieve the success they plan to achieve?
I have not seen anybody from the party cycle that comes out to say there's any, hitches anywhere. I think the party is very, very much okay with what is happening. Hence, nobody is complaining. Nobody is saying that, no, this shouldn't be that. So, sometimes there are some things that will be dealt with within the house where it's not everybody that should be equipped with the knowledge of what actually transpired. But then, APC as a family, I think nobody is complaining. And the leadership is very okay. and the needful will be done. The target of ordinary Nigeria at all times is to give the masses the best. And on that, His Excellency Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing a lot to see that everything comes to line. And you can see, I must have to bring also the issue of his leadership of ECOWAS. That will go a long way to, enable him tap more, experience from other parts of the countries, where such experience will, be translated to the country to improve more on the economic development of the Nigeria as a state. So there's no qualms at all.
If you say there's no qualms, we've actually seen so many qualms, even in some of the neighboring countries, Cameroon, Ghana, Chad, Togo. We've seen them complaining because of this increment in fuel price and the rest, because it has a ripple effect on them too. Yes, I understand that some of the president paid him a visit yesterday, despite the fact, yes, now he's the ECOWAS chairman. How can he be able to sustain that kind of cordial relationship we have with them to boost our economy and to protect the country?
That is one thing Nigerians have to take note of. Why should somebody be crying more than they bereave? It means something is wrong somewhere. And actually, prior to the removal of the subsidy, other countries, the neighboring countries, are tapping from where the resources of the country. Let me put it in order that some people are, a kind of reaping where they did not sow. But having understand the deepness and all the logic of governance, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu take the bull by the horn, and the fuel subsidy is removed. That is to say that that money that is going for subsidy will be diverted from other, where it was going that is not right, and invested in the more positive way that will make a positive impact in the life of a common man of this country. You have said it here before, the issue of education, road construction, agriculture, power. Attention will be, focused on that. So the resources that we are going in a very different negative axis will not come back into the mainstream of the economy, where it is going to improve the life of a common man. So I think that is basically what the president, Mr. President, is doing with his economic themes to ensure that the masses of this country enjoying the dividend of democracy to its fullest.
People also questioned if that is the case, that before now we've also had issues that has to do with situations where there was partial removal of this fuel subsidy. But at the end of the day, we don't really see what that translates into in terms of infrastructural development or human development. So in this particular case, how can we now say that we should give the government the necessary trust or the needed trust for them to continue in this manner?
One thing that you have to take into consideration is who you are actually dealing with.
We dealt with President Muhammadu Buhari in the previous years before President Tinubu. We've had Jonathan also. We've had Umar Musa Yar'Adua, and then we had Olusegun Obasanjo. So many presidents we've had.
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I'm assuring, is a different person, and he's going to tackle this issue amicably and in the way and manner that is going to be of benefit to the masses of this country. If you trace his record, his antecedents, which is not always hiding, and we cannot say time without number, without, mentioning. His antecedent as the governor of Lagos State has speak a lot about what he has to offer. So Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a resource manager. He's somebody who has the capacity to deliver. And you know what actually determines at all time the strength of any country is the management of her economies. The economic situation of the country, the management of the resources. And that will be determined by what the country earns. And also what the country do with what she earned. So going by his antecedent, he have done it. If he will be able to transform Lagos to the position it is today, he can do more in Nigerian project. This Renew Hub is actually a hub for Nigerian masses. All we need to do is give him that confidence, support the government of the day, back it up, give him all the necessary chances to operate fully. And at the end of the day, we are assuring Nigerians that everybody is going to applaud his governance.
You are a pusher in the Northeast, and you are well known nationally when it comes to the issue of the APC. And I also understand that you play a great role in your state politics and in neighboring states in the Northeast. Looking at the situation in the Northeast in the past, the issue of insecurity, the issue of humanitarian disasters and the rest of it in that particular zone, what plan do you think the president will have for you people?
A plan has already been taken. You see, actually, the change in the security architecture of the country is very, very timely. It's a positive step towards ensuring that adequate security measures is being taken in order to address not only in the Northeast, but in the larger country, the insecurity we're experiencing. You know, political insecurity has been the cogs in the development of every nation. That is why Mr. President, our assuming, office, barely not even up to a month or so, he has already taken steps to see that he changed the narratives. Those that are governing the affairs of the security mechanism of the country are being, reshuffled or changed completely, giving new hands opportunity to strive. And that has basically been done based on credibility, no sentiment, nothing. So this is a positive steps already taken to ensure that the security situation of the country is being fully tackled and uprooted from the root. So coming to the Northeast particularly, you must have to also take into consideration the issue of the food security. And I said here that appeal have to be made, or I'm already given an appeal, submitting a kind of appeal, that Mr. President have taken a bold step to, the issue of the fuel removal, and now the issue of a double taxation and changing the narrative therein. So now I'm thinking of declaration should also be made in the terms of our roads, Nigerian roads. If that is done, it will go a long way to promote and also concretize the issue of this food security. When we have good roads, then it means the feeders road will be connected in such a way that the transportation will be easy for a farmer to take his product to the market.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador Musa Mohammed Soken, for coming to the program today. And we actually appreciate some of the things that we've never gotten out. For you to have even unveiled them to us is a very good one for us. And we pray and we hope that the government will do the needful for Nigerians. So many Nigerians are actually complaining of this recent increment in fuel price. This is how far we can go today on the afternoon edition. My name is Isanu. Have a wonderful day and stay blessed.